With the clock ticking down to midnight, Congress remains deadlocked. Republicans say Democrats are holding up a simple funding deal by pushing unrelated Obamacare expansion demands and others, risking a shutdown that could disrupt government services worldwide. Joining me now is Washington Stand reporter Casey Harper, who has been following this story all day. So, Casey, what's the latest?
Well, Tony, this feels familiar. You've been around a little longer than I have, but we've seen this before. We've actually seen about half a dozen government shutdowns averted. It's always at the last minute in the last 2 decades. But in this case, if we're going to avoid a shutdown tonight, it's only going to happen if the Senate agrees to what the House has already passed. But they don't seem inclined to do that. Democrats in the Senate are demanding that over $1 trillion in new spending be added, Tony. Here's what President Trump had to say about it.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
So that was President Trump earlier today at the White House, and he went on to warn that, quote, a vast number of people will lose their jobs if Democrats shut down the government. And of course, if no deal is reached by tonight, that's probably true. Critical services will grind to a halt. And, Tony, Republicans say voters are going to believe that Democrats are the ones who forced this shutdown.
All right, Casey. Well, obviously, we're going to be watching that one very closely. Anything else making headlines today?
Yeah, so from Quantico, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, he criticized generals and diversity efforts in a pretty fiery speech today, and he blamed them for the decline of the military. He was standing next to President Trump, really adding, gravitas to the speech, and he told commanders that if they don't back his reforms, they should resign.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris.
Strong words from the secretary. He went on to defend firing top officers. He called the military culture broken, and even promised to change how discrimination and misconduct cases are handled. As far as the international front, President Trump's 20-point Gaza peace plan, it's being reviewed by Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, he accepted the plan after meeting with President Trump, but whether Hamas will remains a mystery, Tony.
Very interesting. So let's talk about Louisiana is stepping up its enforcement of pro-life laws with a rare criminal case targeting out-of-state abortion pill providers. Now, Casey, this is something we've been tracking as we see these abortion pills going into pro-life states. What can you tell us about this latest action, legal action by Louisiana officials?
Yeah, Tony, this is a rare but important case. Louisiana, they're taking a strong stand on illegal abortion practices. And what they did was the state issued a criminal arrest warrant for a California doctor who's accused of mailing abortion pills out of state to a woman in Louisiana. Now, the doctor involved in all that is charged with violating Louisiana's pro-life laws by sending those abortion drugs to a woman in 2023. The woman in question, she says she was pressured into taking the pills and that they were actually ordered without her permission, her full consent. Now she says that this experience was traumatic, and she says it actually wouldn't have happened if telehealth prescriptions were banned. So it's an interesting case. It's one of the first since Roe v. Wade was overturned, and it digs into this question of empowering states like Louisiana to protect the unborn, Tony.
All right. Thanks, Casey.